It's morning time at Israelite Bay. I was doing a little bit of video editing this morning. Jill's at the back of the truck making us some pork wraps from our leftover pork roast.
Going the trouble, buddy.
Yummy! And this is what the typical camps look like at Israelite Bay, just interspersed amongst these shrubby sized trees. Very pleasant. The ocean's probably 500 meters off in that direction. Today's plan is to make it out to Cape Arid. We packed up camp and we're checking out some of the old ruins around Israelite Bay, and we're coming up to what I think is the Telegraph Station. So this guy would have communicated and relayed the messages to Eucla, where we were a few days ago.
That's an impressive building.
That is a very impressive building. Check that out.
Look at the decorative thing on the front even.
Jeepers. And there is the Israelite Bay Telegraph Station. That is an impressive building. Oh, nice. It says, "Caution snakes, please keep out." Yeah, I'll have a little bit of a look. It's actually got 3 chimneys. That's bloody massive. The station building was built in 1896 at a cost of £2,572, or about $1 million in today's money. These are either cellars or are they maybe water holding vessels? I think water holding, because there's pipes draining into them and there are no stairs to get down there.
Are you a vandal or just a fool who defaces old buildings?
I'm going to have a little bit of a look in there. Housed under the one roof were the telegraph master's residential quarters and separate similar accommodation for the single men's quarters. I'm going to beware of snakes. That is very impressive. Out on the front of the building, that looks like there were plaques there at one point that had been taken off. Okay, I'm coming, snakes. The station remained in use until 1917, and although it was stripped of timber and iron, which was sold and removed circa 1927, the stonework, as you can see here, is in excellent condition. You got a single chimney with a double hearth. That's cool. Another hearth. Oh, there's a beehive. Active beehive with bees and a nest. Honey. Another one of these double hearth chimneys. Another small room. The ceilings on this place are massive. I'm 6 foot. They're 2 and a bit of me. So they're probably 14 foot, 15 foot ceilings. Another chimney, another hearth. That's a very small room, maybe a cellar of some description, but still got these ornate headers over the doors. And there's a cellar down there. Far out. 2 stories, massive ornate building, and a massive cellar. Another fireplace and hearth. That chimney has fallen down, so that's 4 this would have had. And there's the cellar. We were just on the other side of this. The floor's obviously collapsed long ago. And our final room. Well, to say I'm impressed would be an understatement. We're checking out a few of the grave sites here in Israelite Bay. We've got a linesman, John Cook, and we've got the postmaster, Thomas Brass. And there's actually some lilies growing in here too. I don't know whether they're wild or not, but that's kind of cool. 44 years old. That's a rough gig. And then off to the side we've got Len Spur, R.I.P., with no description about who he was or why he was here. Second of 2 cemetery sites. John Francis died 85 in 1920. So we had a postmaster there in the last gravesite. I thought he died in 16, so I guess you could have 2 postmasters at the same place at the same time. And here's a postmaster from 1890, John Healy. Telegraph Station master, died 2nd of November 1890, erected by his fellow officers as a token of their regard for his sterling qualities as a man, friend, and brother officer. Held in quite high regard. And the last one is John Smith, killed in a mica mine accident, 1922. And there's little bits of mica all in that grave area. It's funny, you can see on the edges of the trees the mud on them where people have driven through, and it's been wiping the mud off their cars. Us included, I'd say.
We need it wiped off.
Is this one of those soft wash car washes?
No, this is the scrapey, scratchy kind.
Well, this is obviously a newer building, but check this out. There's a whale bone, a spine, and these must be head bits, and I reckon that's the jawbone of one of these baleen type whales. Maybe it's a right whale, I'm not sure, but it's freaking massive. There's Jill standing beside that head bone for scale. She's 5'4", 5'3". It's two and a bit of Jill, so that's probably 12 feet long. Walking back behind that building, there's a couple of old ruins, and look what I spotted. That there is an FJ-45, and it's out in these salty conditions, and it's still whole. Can't believe it. The old girl hasn't moved in a while. It's a later model one. It's got the windscreen wipers down on the bottom. Check this out. Vise mounted to the bull bar. That's awesome. Big PDO winch. Sun visor welded to these bash bars. 22,000 kilometers on the clock? I don't think so. Ooh, that tray's seen better days. Yeah, she's slowly returning to Mother Earth. And it's a petrol. It's the old 2F. Gee, that looks like the front of the bonnet on my FJ Cruiser. Far out. Well, we're at the Cook's Cottage, Glencoe. 1883 this was built. This tree is a fruit tree of some description, a peach or a pear or an apricot. It's a stone fruit anyway. And there's the old cottage, and the old roof is still standing. That's incredible. Old Kiro lantern. Not much left in here. There's some graffiti from 1966, the year I was born. I wonder what they drove to get in here in 66. That wall's got a bit of a lean and a bow to it. She's heading south. Can't tell what that would be used for, and there's no signage on it. That one over there, however, I got an idea. Neat bit of history. A couple of more dead vehicles. We got an old Intertractor. And this looks like a Luxie. I had one of these. It was a dual cab, but it was the same model. Exactly the same model. This one's a petrol. Mine had the L motor in it, 2.2 liter. Gutless piece of shit it was. I put a turbo on it and blew it up, as you do when you're young and foolish. Mine was an 82 model. Well, over the past few days, this track has thrown absolutely everything at us. We've had rock, we've had sand, we've had mud, we've had seashells. What else have we had, hon?
Sticks. Wire.
Wire. Yeah, it's just been every surface you could imagine.
Multiple kinds of mud.
Yeah.
Stinky.
Today is the first day that we've had this slippery, it's almost like facial pack mud, that light clay stuff.
How would you know what facial pack mud is like, Terry?
I wouldn't know. I'm just thinking.
Oh, okay. Okay, two things of note here. The giant ant nests and the pretty sparkling gold rocks. There's the truck to show you how big these nests are. They're huge along the track. There's ants everywhere, so I'm just watching. See them? Ants. Those are all ant nests in front of me. They're crazy.
Can't recall whether I've mentioned it or not, but we're heading towards Cape Arid. We're in Cape Arid National Park, but there's an actual Cape Arid on the western boundary of the park. And that's the way we're heading now.
How do you spell Arid?
A-R-I-D.
Oh, Arid, as in not A-R-A-D or something.
No, as in dry, Cape Dry.
Yeah.
Cape, not a lot of water, just like what we're seeing here.
Oh, what is those puddles we're driving through?
Yucky, stinky mud. It goes on and on and on.
Oh, that smells so bad. Oh. Like we're in Rotorua.
Yeah, it is. It's that sulfur smell, isn't it? Too bad we didn't have smell-o-vision on the GoPro.
No, that might make people turn off.
Yeah.
Oh, it is horrendous.
Unsubscribe, let's get out of here. Oh, too bad we all still part of that Lake Doolandella chain or whatever it was called. Darlanella?
Daringdella.
Lake Daringdella. Like very smelly. We're still on the Tele track heading towards Cape Arid, and we're coming across a lot of these lakes that have got, well, I was going to say quite a bit of water, but there's not much here at the moment. But it's wet everywhere. I would really like to know how much rain they got out here, because I reckon it's been a significant amount. This stuff's not too bad. It looks nasty underfoot, or it looks nasty through the windscreen, but underfoot there's a lot of rock in it. So the attraction's actually pretty good. Better than that facial mud we were in a little bit earlier.
I don't know how long ago the rain was and how much they got, but I wouldn't have wanted to have been driving on this track at that time or just after.
We're going through a forest of these broccoli trees.
Broccoli trees.
I think they're paper marks, but yeah, they look very cool. Mud. Lots and lots of mud. We'll just try and stay up on the high ground as long as we can.
Oh, there's the end of it.
There's the end of our high ground.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'll put my window down so they can hear it. Oh, mud flew up. Oh my goodness.
Far out. Here you are, you and your wife, solo. You have not seen another traveler for days, and you are confronted with this. What do you do?
I'm putting my window up because mud might come in.
Did somebody go up here?
I don't know.
We went right, taking the high dry ground. I think so.
That is yucky mud.
That was yucky mud. It was a bit soft underfoot too.
And we usually don't go around, but yeah, it's dicey.
It is dicey.
Look at in front of us.
I see. Now you might be saying, hang on Terry, you said when you hit water crossings you stay on the track and go through the middle because the ground is firmest there. Yes, I did, and in this specific instance, going off the track 1 or 2 car widths can land you in serious trouble. So if I did not have a choice, I would have gone straight through. However, there was a clear line off to the right on some high dry ground that skirted around the perimeter of the lake, avoiding the whole shit show. That was first choice, hands down. Those are cool rocks.
They are nice rocks. Look at those black ones.
Yeah. Winding around, making our way around these mud sections, and we found these black rocks. Man, check these out. That's very cool. They're very hard. I thought they'd be soft, but in fact they're quite hard. You got this white quartz, and then you got this, I don't know, this brownie colored rock, and then these pieces of black. Very strange. The track winds its way around the perimeter of some of these lakes rather than going through the middle of that mud bog.
Definitely don't go right, please.
Ooh, what do we got here?
Just mud.
Just mud. And interspersed between those lakes, we've got the sandy tracks with this really low heath, like Banksias everywhere. And hopefully these weeds down the middle of the track are tickling some of the mud off the undercarriage. Check this out. Short little heathy stuff on gravel.
With mud.
With a little bit of mud. That's really bizarre. No trees at all.
There's another big one up here.
Lots of these little mud puddles along this little track as well. The landscape has changed again. We're now running through all of these very sort of humpy sand dunes, or almost hills, sand hummocks, I guess, and interspersed in between them are lakes. So the lakes that we were at before, it was really flat ground and they were very shallow lakes. And these lakes are sitting in between reasonably steep-sided sand humps.
It is more like a national park. So Cape Arid National Park is where we are, but it does seem more like a national park than a nature reserve to me.
It's cool how we're running up along the top of this sand ridge between a couple of these hummocks. And we've got lakes on either side of us.
My head keeps swiveling side to side.
Yeah. We're going through a little bit of a washed out section here. We've actually had to drop down into low range. And I'm on the low side.
Yay. Look at that lump ahead.
It's a doozy. Well, we just got CB'd. We had a look at the map and we can still get to where we want to go. It's just going to add a few kilometers onto it. That was a nice straight route to where we wanted to go along the tele track. That was kind of the hypotenuse of the triangle. Now we're going to have to do the two sides.
I hope this video shows how pretty those clouds are.
I'll tilt the camera up a little bit. Check that out. The Simpsons. Oh yeah, this is well used. Corrugations.
We're in Cape Arid National Park and we've just been blocked from going the direct route we wanted to take. So we're taking the longer route now. But it's so pretty out here. We stopped and thought might do some drone footage.
We are now on the Fisheries Road heading in a westerly direction. So we got past that area where we got CB'd and we'll continue west until we can see a sign that points back down to Cape Arid, which is where we want to be. This track is just two-wheel tracks in soft sand, but it's all right. Might just be a bitch if we meet any oncoming traffic, that's all. We pulled up for lunch at this, I guess it's a windbreak of pine trees that have been planted here.
Listen to the trees. Sounds great. It's wild. Having the trees, and then you've got grass trees, banksias. It's very interesting.
If you had smell-o-vision as well, it'd be cool because it smells like pine. I'll show you on the map here what we've got into. So we were out here camped at Israelite Bay. We've taken this track along here, the Overland Telegraph line, to that point there. That's where we got CB'd. So there's a track that isn't marked on this map, which runs diagonally across here. We took that, we've come out here, and here's where we're pulled up along that pine fence line. Here's our target, the Thomas Fishery Camp. So we're going to try running down this Maryville Road, this Poison Creek Road, down to Thomas Fishery. Hopefully we don't get CB'd again because of that bloody fungal infection in the trees. What are you doing, Jill?
Mud removal.
Mud removal machine.
Oh my god, there's so much mud. Trying to get some of it off.
Yeah.
It's driving me a bit bonkers.
Well, this one looks pretty good.
I got some of it off. Back here along the road was a dead rabbit, and along the sides, lots of rabbit holes all along the side of the road. So I'd say there's a rabbit problem here. But check out how pretty these banksias are.
Look at the size of this banksia relative to Jill.
And the rabbit hole.
And the rabbit hole, yeah. They're monsters. They're in all sorts of different stages of flower, aren't they?
Yeah, there's every stage. There's like the seed. Look at that mud on the front of our truck. Oh boy.
Well, we're in Mount Arid National Park, and that is Mount Arid in front of us here. And it's pretty imposing, given the fact that the surrounding landscape is pretty much dead flat. Looks like it's a granite peak as well. We're heading towards the Thomas Fisheries camp, and we're going to go and check that little sucker out. It's blowy out there at the moment, and Jill rightly pointed out, I hope there is a little bit of shelter there somewhere, or we're going to get blown off the face. That's cool. All the banksias in flower in the foreground, and then the burnt country that sits in behind it. It looks like that mountain burnt too, all the way to the top. Given the stuff on the left is not burnt and the stuff on the right is toasted, I'd say they used this track as a fire break.
Or they did it on purpose.
Yeah, or they lit off of this track, absolutely. We used to do that when we were back in the fire brigade.
I think they've done a controlled burn here in the national park on the left-hand side of the track. It hasn't been burned, and on the right it has. That's Mount Arid in the background. See how all the seed pods have opened on the banksias? Banksias love fire. That's the only way that they can open up and let their seeds free.
You can see all the rocks on the side of Mount Arid, where that's all obviously been burnt. And I imagine you normally wouldn't be able to see some of those because they'd be buried. But you can now because it's all bald. That's beautiful. So that's the Recherche Archipelago out there, at least according to our map. And there's a whole series of islands out there. Beautiful. Oh, cool. You can see the track winding off just off to the left of center, about 11 o'clock. My goodness. There's a set of ruins up here from a family that built a house in 1905, and they lasted to 1910 and then abandoned it. They would have had stunning views for 5 years, but they probably wouldn't have had a whole lot of water. You never get tired of that view. There's a little bit of a hill for us here. So drop it in low range so we can control our speed a little bit better, not overheat the transmission. Looks like we're going back down into one of these gullies, only to come out the other side. I don't think you could get sick of driving this trail. Wowee. Western Australia is turning it on.
I think this is the camping area down here.
Is it?
Amongst these trees. Look on the map in front of us.
Okay. I wonder if there's any fish in here.
I'm not going in to find out because there's sharks in there. I've seen them. In that Southern Ocean, there are big sharks.
Well, we're at the Thomas Fisheries camp. We have found our campsite. And I'm just going to go and park up. Terry's just backing into our chosen campsite at Thomas Fishery. Beautiful little sheltered camping area with access straight down to the beach, and there's drop toilets that we could see. Jill and I are walking down to the access point of the Thomas Fisheries camp area. Wowzers. How good is this? Beautiful. WA turns it on again. There's Jill up on the point there. We're just going for a walk around and check out our surrounds. What do you reckon, Akeem? Any fish in there? Can you hear the sea in your ear, hon?
I hear it loud and clear.